Hello and welcome, JBA fans. I'm your host, King L5, and today we have episode 2 of my series going over all of the Gen 7 new Pokemon buffs and nerfs, and kind of talking about how good they will be in the Draft League format. Now, if you didn't see episode 1, what are you doing? I'm going to leave that link in the description, or some annotation or something along those lines. You can go check that out. And with me, I have the Polish elf, Doogie.
That's me.
I have Doogie, and Matt is also here joining us. You want to
Dougie
say
had
hi?
to leave for a minute.
Hi.
Doogie is not here. Oh, he is here.
Oh shit, he's here. What
He's
up?
back. Anyways, we are going in alphabetical order, and where we last left off was Lurantis, and now we're going to move on to Lycanroc, the midday form first. I think this Pokemon is definitely better than the Midnight one.
Definitely.
The base 112 speed is really nice. The 115 attack is pretty nice as well. Can also function very nicely as a Stealth Rock Suicide lead. It does have access to Accel Rock, which is the new rock priority move. Has access to Swords Dance, the Elemental Fangs, Crunch. I think it has a lot of options.
Except it doesn't use them too well.
Yeah, I don't think they're amazing options, but
Sword
definitely not
Stance is
bad.
really hard to pull off, to be honest.
I would say this Pokemon would be amazing if Talonflame was still the beast it was. Because Talonflame got nerfed, this thing is pretty much...
Matt, don't spoil it. We're gonna talk about Talonflame later. What are you doing?
Sorry. I'm just saying, like, its value would be through the roof if Talonflame still had Yellow Wings, and Yellow Wings would still function the way it functioned.
Well, it can be a good Fletchinder counter, because they're probably equally a shit. So,
To be honest, though, this thing is pretty decent at a few things. It's not the most versatile thing in the world, but I think it's a decent Tier 3 Pokemon, for example. Its abilities are not too helpful. Sand Rush, it's already pretty fast. You don't really need that. Steadfast, I guess versus Mega Lopunny, for example, as a Focus Sash lead, it can do not very good.
nice.
Keen Eye, completely useless, basically.
Are you kidding? Switching into all those... whatever moves?
As I
don't
was
even know
saying,
it actually-
completely useless.
What lowers accuracy?
Uh,
That's never mind. That's
Mud
evasion,
Slap?
I was gonna say. Yeah. You take 50 from a Mud Slap and then you don't even get your accuracy lowered.
Oh, that's pretty nice,
Maybe-
to be honest.
Maybe you could use it on, like, a Sand team with it being Choice Band.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's other Pokemon that do that job better. Like, if you
Oh,
want
yeah.
a value Sand Sweeper, go for Stoutland.
Yeah.
If you want a good
I
Sand
agree.
Sweeper, go for Excadrill. Like,
I think it could be a really good late game cleaner when everything's like worn down because it's pretty fast, but its move pool is lacking.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I
only
agree with
gets fire, electric, and then rock, and fighting. But its fighting is brick break, so yeah.
I think this would function best as a Stealth Rock lead or a late
Oh,
game
yeah.
cleaner. One of those two. Not really good at anything else. Anyways, let's move on to its other form, which is the Lycanroc Midnight. This gets an actual useful ability in No Guard, which means it can't miss Stone Edge, which is very nice.
Too bad it's complete trash other than that.
That too.
Yeah.
It does basically take away the speed stat from the midday form and just redistribute it into bulk. So it can take hits marginally better, but it's
Yes,
just
because-
overall worse.
Base 75 defense is known as bulk.
Oh yes, compared to the 65 from the other one. Oh man.
Wow. A full
Power.
10 points higher.
Also, it loses a Cell Rock, and I don't even think it gains Sucker Punch. Does Lycanroc Midday have Sucker Punch? Yeah, it does. So, yeah, that's its only
It
priority.
must
which
gain
is-
something.
It
Bulk up?
gains. I don't think it actually gains anything. Oh, it gets counter.
Oh, counter, the best set. Anyways,
Yes, because
this is
thing
gonna
can live
be
a hit.
this is gonna be a nice tier 4. No one's gonna draft it. It's gonna be nice.
Yeah.
It'll be dropped down to
basically.
tier 5 within a season.
I could see that, yeah.
I mean, honestly, not really much to say on this Pokemon. But we can move on to what I think is the best Gen 7 Pokemon that should not be banned. Magearna. This thing's typing is out of this world, weak to 2 typings, and resists literally everything else. It has a special Moxie, but even better than Moxie, because if a Pokemon dies from rocks or toxic, for example, it still gets the boost. It's very
this mon
versatile
is,
as well.
It's just mean. That's all I can say.
Yeah, the defensive set is very hard to break. The offensive set is very hard to switch into. It gets basically coverage for anything that it wants. It's
It gets
just
fucking Volt Switch.
yeah, it
Yeah.
does kind of have 4 move slot syndrome in that you can't have everything on one set.
But the coverage it has is so powerful, you don't really need everything.
Yeah,
I mean, it
it's
can be
very
a
good.
Calm Mind. It can be a Calm Mind sweeper. It can be a Shift Gear sweeper. It can be an Assault Vest pivot. It can literally do anything.
I think this is
Yeah.
sort of like the Jirachi of Gen 7, where it can do anything. It's a bulky steel, and it's just really good at everything that it does. Has very nice
Another
bulk,
thing,
very nice
I've seen
special attack.
Life Orb on Trick Room with Crabominal and Carbink and Porygon 2. That's scary as fuck.
Yeah, this
Wait, did I hear
thing.
you right? Did you say Carbink?
Yeah, Carbink sets up Reflect and Light Screen.
Oh, okay.
And since it has Sturdy, it can do both. So that's pretty cool.
So I think the speed stat is the only thing that hinders it somewhat, and it's not even that bad because Shift Gear, with investment, this thing can outspeed the base 130s. It might even be able to outspeed Mega Lopunny. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it does.
Definitely. I think this Pokemon is the best, like honestly. That's just
I
my
agree,
humble
yeah.
opinion.
That's very
No,
strong.
you're absolutely right. It is the best.
Yeah. I would not be too surprised if it was banned from some of the more ban-heavy leagues. Like, I don't know, there's some people that... Like, there's some leagues that allow Megalodys and some that ban Megalodys. I think this might be one of those Pokemon eventually. It's just really, really, really good.
Yeah.
Moving
Yeah,
on.
this one league banned all the Tapus and all the Ultra Beasts, even Guzzlord and Finny, and I'm like, oh, okay.
What are you doing?
Except they allowed Magearna, and I'm like, okay. Okay. Weird.
How to know if a league doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, if they had Jade Hex, that wouldn't be a problem.
Exactly.
But anyways, I think we can move on to another Pokemon that I think is very, very good, and that is Alolan Marowak.
Oh.
This thing's typing plus Lightning Rod means that it resists Bolt Beam coverage. It's physical fire type, which is always very nice in League. It has really good stabs in Flare Blitz and Shadow Bone, its new signature move. It can set up rocks, it can do a special defensive set very effectively. It's just very, very solid Pokemon, nice and versatile.
Yeah, honestly, it was also kind of surprising it was this good and centralizing. Just because the stats, you look at them, it's like, okay, they're okay, but you wouldn't think they were that amazing with typing and abilities. It rapes you, to be honest. Nothing else.
This thing gets Thick Club, which means it doubles its attack, which means it has, I think, 568, if I remember correctly, attack. Along with the 110 defense, 80 special defense, which isn't awful, 60 HP, which isn't the best, but when invested, it can take pretty strong hits. It's just kind of slow, to be honest. Yeah. Its
Speed's
moveset,
the only thing that's holding you back.
yeah, its moveset is pretty nice. It also gets Will-O-Wisp if you want a defensive set to like punish switch-ins. Its kind of biggest weakness is knockoff. I would say.
And
It's weak
ground
to it.
moves.
I mean knockoff in particular because it loses the thick club and it's weak to it. So yeah, another thing that makes it not like the best Pokemon in the world is its Stealth Rock weak. This is a Pokemon that appreciates being able to switch in for free on like electric types. It is one of the best electric switches in the game. And if you have to take 25% damage each time when you're trying to switch into, say, a Tapu Koko, they can always just U-turn out, and you're taking 25% damage plus the U-turn chip, and then you have to switch out again because they bring in their water type or something like that. And then your Marowak gets whittled extremely quickly. Those are the only like flaws of this Pokemon. I think it's very solid in general.
I mean, you could switch in on a like a type move and then go for the almighty Thunderbolt that it gets.
Ooh.
Oh,
Or
true.
Thunder Punch if you know you have a good set.
That way, you're at 1.5 special attack, and then you go for a Thunderbolt. Boom.
Whoa.
Dead.
Well,
Also,
with Thick Club, you
Sure.
automatically have a +2 boost to your physical attack, but that's none of my business.
Don't tell Matt, he doesn't know.
Oh, true. Overall, this is like one of my favorite Pokemon. Actually, it is my favorite Pokemon based on the design. And I'm really
That's
glad that
cool.
it's good.
also, we'll never get a chance to draft it because Cole drafts it in the first round every league because he thinks it's that good.
I don't think it's round 1 material, but I think it's definitely very good. I can see
think
this as a
it's
tier
round 1
2.
material. I think
So-
it's round 1 material just on the base of other people are going to draft it round 1, so if you want it, you have to get it round 1.
Well,
that's
just
only
cool.
Cole.
No, I know
you know
someone
what?
else.
I'll purposely lose the JBA again just so I can get the first pick and
Here,
it's off Cole.
I'm going to give you some
You're welcome,
advice. The American Leo might be getting it round 1.
Oh, by
Might
the
be.
way, JBA Season 4 is going to be a randomized order, so
Ooh.
losing on purpose. You can do that, I won't stop you, but it's not going to be helping.
Dang it! I thought I had the place.
Yeah, because it's a
Well,
new meta.
Makes sense.
Anyways, we can move
Yeah.
on to the next Pokemon, which is actually Mimikyu. Busted Pokemon, to be honest. Basically gets a free sub. Just like completely free sub, which is very good. Its stabs are very hard to switch into. The only thing that's holding it back is its mediocre attack stat, only base 90. Although it does basically get a free Swords Dance just whenever it wants. And there's nothing really that you can do about it.
Isn't what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah. Fuck. Whatever. Oh yeah, Life Orb Sword Stance. That hits very hard. Like you said, Z Splash is an option, but I think Life Orb Sword Stance is better.
I think it's stronger too. Like there's no point of
Yeah.
running Splash.
Yeah.
Fairy and Ghost are two great offensive typings, so it's good.
You
Yeah,
don't
there
even
just isn't too much to say about it. It's just like it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really need anything other than its stabs, which means you can run Shadow Claw plus Shadow Sneak, which means you get priority that this thing really appreciates with its 96 speed. Fast enough to outspeed most things, but not enough to outspeed everything. So the priority is very nice to help clean up weakened teams.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's not really much more to say.
Yeah, it's not the most versatile Pokemon in the world. It's just good at what
I mean,
it does.
it gets Will-O-Wisp, but that's anything.
It does.
Yeah, it could definitely like what's I gonna say, like if you go into something like a steel type to try to take a hit from it, it can just get willowed, and since a lot of steel types are physical attackers, that's not good.
It also gives Trick Room, which is an option. Not a good one, but it is an option.
I mean, you
Anyways,
could sub up on the substitute on the disguise and get 2 subs.
Oh yeah, that's an annoying set, but it's not that good to be fair.
It's not that good. I'm just saying
Yeah.
it's a set.
So moving on to the next Pokemon, which is, in my opinion, the best Shell Smasher in the game, Minior. This Pokemon,
Yeah, this thing. Before you say anything, Minior has swept me multiple times, tens of thousands.
well, that's a
mean.
lot.
Yeah, just a little bit.
So I think the main set is going to be White Herb, Acrobatics, Edgequake. I think that's generally the best set. Although it can run a special set if like the matchup allows it. I don't think it gets any good flying special coverage, if I'm not wrong.
Got Hurricane though. That'd be just weird.
If it got Hurricane, it would just miss.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it also gets U-turn if you want to use it like that, because this thing does force switches with the Shell Smash potential. It is a stealth rocker, so if you really need a stealth rocker, this thing can do it for you. It gets dual screens, but mainly the thing you're going to be using this for is the Shell Smash.
Yeah.
Very good sweeper, in my opinion. The ability is also pretty cool because you have, it's sort of almost Aegislash, sort of, in that it has high defenses and then it switches to have high offenses.
Yeah, especially after you get a Shell Smash up, you're usually gonna take a hit, and you're not gonna enjoy the hit per se, but you're gonna be at like 30%, giving you enough health to just kill everything else if they don't have any priority.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's pretty much all there is to say about Minior. We can move on to the next Pokemon, which is going to be Mudsdale. Yeah, this is a Pokemon that you can ride in-game, so that means it must be amazing.
Jade likes it.
That's right. It looks like we lost Dougie, but that's okay, we're just going to keep going. We don't need him anyways. This thing gets one of the more interesting new abilities in Stamina, which means it gets +1 defense every time it gets hit. I don't think it's the best Pokemon in the game by far. I think it's a nice tier 4. It's a pretty decent Assault Vest user, Trick Room Sweeper. It gets Close Combat, Earthquake, Heavy Slam. I think it gets Stone Edge as well.
Yeah, Rock Slide, not so
Rock
much.
Slide. Superpower if you don't want the defense or special defense drop from Close Combat, I guess.
Yeah.
It gets Roar. That's pretty cool because you can take a hit and roar out a threat. Overall, it's pretty nice, to be honest. A nice bulky ground if you don't have one towards the end of a draft and you need one. Anything you want to talk about for Mudsdale?
I'd say it just has a lot of value. Like it's just not that versatile. That's like, I feel like its main downfall, because it has very, very nice bulk where it can take most hits, especially with an Assault Vest or with like any investment, to be honest. And that can fire off a really powerful Earthquake. Like I've ran Choice Banded, and that's just it does so much damage to everything.
It is quite strong, yes.
Yeah, it's good stats, bad speed, normal ground type.
Yeah.
That's one way to put it. Anyways, moving on to the next Pokemon, which is one of my favorite Pokemon of Gen 7, which is Alolan Muck, Disco Muck. It has some pretty nice abilities. Power of Alchemy, probably more of a gimmick, but Poison Touch, Poison Jab, it's in your favor to poison, which is really nice. Gluttony can be really nice with a Figgy Berry, for example, which means if you drop down to 50%, you just gain that 50% right back. This thing is a very good Assault Vest user. It's one of the only Tapu Lele switch-ins in the game, to be honest, and it can Pursuit Trap that for nice damage. Its stabs are pretty nice. It's only weak to ground, and it's not too versatile, but it is pretty good at what it does. It gets Memento, which is interesting.
Yeah. And also, say if you're facing something, what was I gonna say, that has good, not resistances per se, but it can take on your stab from a physical standpoint. It does get stab, Dark Pulse, and Sludge Wave, and its special attack isn't that mighty, but in a pinch, like, I'm just doing this from a league point. If you're trying to counter team someone, it definitely can be interesting to do a special set.
Yeah, I've seen a Crawdaunt with Sludge Wave to hit a Whimsicott, Like,
Yeah.
there's always
Things like
room,
that.
always room for cool sets like that in League, and this thing can definitely do that kind of thing. Like, for example, a Ferrothorn that wants to switch in, this thing gets Fire Blast.
Yeah.
It's
And
got
again-
a pretty nice special move pool, to be honest.
Yeah, and again, Hyper
Also-
Beam and Giga Impact.
Oh
I have
man.
to say that.
Best one. If it gets the elemental punches again, I would say it's definitely gonna be like really good. Right now, it's still pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it has everything that it really needs. Just like the elemental punches would be nice.
I think
I mean,
we
really
added it. Yeah, it's tier 3 in the SSL, or no, tier 4.
Does
Right.
it get Sucker Punch?
No, it gets Shadow Sneak though.
Oh,
Yeah.
So it
yeah,
does
people
have
don't
priority.
get Sucker Punch. Yeah,
What would you guys say to tier it 4 or 3?
I would say 4.
tier 3.
Got some disagreement here. I think there's other things in tier 3 that you would rather have, and I think it fits pretty well into the tier 4. That's just my
I'm just
opinion.
saying low end tier 3.
Yeah, it's kind
Honestly,
of
I can see
like
both.
right in between.
But
Yeah.
since like most leagues, including the SSL, is banning Tapu Lele, I don't see it being like as big of a. This is a huge switch into a really big threat. So
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
it's definitely still pretty good though.
I think we can move on now to Necrozma. This is a Pokemon that's kind of interesting. Its coverage is pretty garbage, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a Psychic type that cannot hit Dark types for any damage apart from Brick Break.
The death move.
I think this is one of the most reliable Stealth Rockers, though.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's very good at that.
Its ability is basically Filter, with a fancy name. So it's not going to take very much from a Dark Pulse or a Knockoff or a U-Turn. It can just stay in and sit there, calm mind, set up the rocks, Moonlight, dual screens, I believe. Yep.
I had
It gets-
Crunch Mega. Oh, sorry, where's it?
It gets Rock Polish as well, so it can be a late game cleaner. It's pretty versatile.
I was gonna say I had a Crunch Mega Aerodactyl, did 42, so yeah. Definitely can take so many hits.
Yeah, it can spread paralysis with Thunder Wave, gets Toxic, Swords Dance if you want to go that route. It just gets
Honestly,
some pretty
physical
nice
isn't bad.
options. It has a nice, well, not nice, but like decent physical move pool, and
Yeah.
a 107 physical attack. You can definitely go mixed, I think. And it does have the Psychic type Hyper Beam, but like slightly stronger. See if I can find it. Prismatic Laser. Base 160 power, 100% accurate, so
Yeah.
it can't miss, like Hyper Beam. And that can be a nice nuke if you need it.
I mean, it also does get regular Hyper Beam though, so we can, and Giga Impact. So
Oh man.
It's true.
You are not wrong. I think it's a pretty solid Pokemon. I think it will be lower end tier 1 or high end tier 2.
I'd say low end tier 1 more than
Yeah.
high end tier 2.
That's what I
Just-
was kind of leaning towards.
Just because its stats are just so good. Tier 2 would be like, it'd just be broken. Tier
Feels like just a slightly better Rianculus, to be honest. Without
Yeah.
Magic Earth, so that kind of meh.
I think it's more of a slightly worse Reuniclus, but more versatile.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't like Rianculus as well, so.
I think Reuniclus is pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
I like to call it
anyways,
a border.
we can move on to the next Pokemon, which is Nihilego. This Pokemon is like kind of the opposite of Buzzwole, to be honest.
Yeah.
No physical defense stat, decent speed, really good special defense and special attack, passable HP, which means it can take special hits quite well. I think with an Assault Vest you might even be able to avoid the 2-hit KO from weaker Earth powers. That's the
I
thing.
could imagine.
It gets a decent move pool. Again, not the best. It gets Sludge Bomb, Sludge Wave,
Thunder,
Power
Thunder.
Gem, Psyshock, gets all the good things. It can also function as a nice hazard stacking lead with stealth rocks and toxic spikes. So that is one thing that it can do. It's kind of versatile in that sense.
Yeah, I found a Power Gem Focus Sash. No, I mean Stealth Rock Focus Sash is a very good set.
Yeah, as a
And
lead,
then,
this is very good.
And then with like Sludge
pretty
Wave.
good.
And then, yeah.
Yeah, pretty good underrated move against Clear Smog, which, if you have like somebody who's setting up in League, just get rid of those stats.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
So I think we can move on to the next Pokemon. There isn't really too much to talk about for Nihilego.
Yeah,
That's Smash.
reliable rocker, just all around, just pretty good.
One more thing I forgot to mention, you can run Banded Head Smash and get about 5%. So that's pretty solid.
And then you take about 3% in recoil.
That's pretty
Nice.
good. Yeah.
Anyways, moving on to Alolan Ninetales. I think this Pokemon is not very good. Some people might disagree. But I think the Ice and Fairy typing does not cover each other very well. It's still walled by Steel types. I think it loses all of its fire coverage from its regular form. It gets HP Fire, I guess.
It is not good at all.
It gets Nasty Plot at a decent speed tier, so it's not like the worst thing in the world, but I don't think it's like that good. I think this is a tier 4 type Pokemon. Maybe tier 3 you can make a case, because it does get Nasty Plot, Moonblast, Blizzard that doesn't miss, Freeze Dry,
Aurora.
gets
Aurora Veil is pretty scary to be
yeah, that's the
fair.
other thing I was thinking of. And overall it's like not awful, but it's not that good either. I think it's
Yeah,
pretty
I
good
see.
for like a Hail team. Like you can get this plus Curum for Scarf Blizzards on that thing, which is pretty strong.
It can lead to a well-played Bear Tech.
That's
It can,
true.
unless you're Matt.
That's true, sadly. It also gets Rain Dance, so you can counteract the snow warning.
Oh, true.
If you want to be that.
If you want to be that guy.
Yeah.
Anyways, we can move on to the next Pokemon now, which is a very good Pokemon in VGC, not very good in singles. It's Oranguru.
Oh, yeah.
The only set really is Trick Room or Calm Mind. That's really the only thing it's good for. Maybe defensive foul play. That's basically
I haven't
it.
seen anything. I haven't seen anything that's good on it.
Nice solid
I mean-
tier 8.
Yeah.
It has decent defenses and a decent special attack. Speed is
Mhm.
pretty bad though.
You can run like a bulky attack.
Nasty
or
Plot.
Nasty Plot, I don't think so. I think Calm Mind is more what you're going to be going for. But like
Yeah.
it does get Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt, Psychic Stab. Does it get normal stab on the special side? I don't see any.
Probably not.
Gets Return.
Hyper Beam?
Oh, does it get Hyper Beam?
Oh, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. So it's
Oh.
bad.
But it does get Giga Impact though.
Oh, so it's not
Oh.
awful.
It's not awful, but it's just
Yeah.
I have seen Calm Mind Stored Power, but it's just not the best Pokemon.
Yeah.
A lot of things do the Calm Mind roll better. And anyways,
Rancorous, Necrozma, yeah.
we can move on to the next Pokemon, which is Oricorio, with multiple different forms. I think they're all pretty bad. Not gonna lie. I think the best one is the electric one, just because you get a fast electric type. But even that one is pretty bad. I think they're all tier 5 material.
Oh, yeah.
tier 6, tier 5, yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, what do you think about like if you draft it, you get all 4? I think that's pretty fair.
Sort of like Silvally. Like that.
Yeah, so really.
I think that would be decent enough, where it might be draftable as a tier 5 or tier 6, but
Yeah.
I would not draft it otherwise. I don't think anyone else would, except for Jade, because he really likes the pom-poms.
That's true.
Its move
Living
pool,
at living out his sexual fantasy because he wants to be a cheerleader.
Its move pool is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
not that good. I don't think it even gets
Hurricane.
Quiver Dance. Like it can
It
only
gets
copy
Sword
it.
Stance
But hey, but it gets Swords Dance if it
and Calm
copies it,
Mind.
and Teeter Dance.
So Revelation Dance and Hurricane are basically your two main moves, and it's kind of like a two move slot syndrome where you only have two good moves.
Yeah.
I mean, it's called mine.
I mean, you can run agility, and then
U-turn, I
U-turn.
guess. Anyways, bad Pokemon. Let's move on to the next one, which is like not the best Pokemon, but it's better than Oricorio, which is Palossand. I think this is a pretty interesting Pokemon. It has the same typing as Golurk. I don't think it gets Stealth Rock. I might be
No, it
wrong.
doesn't.
I'm just gonna check real quick. It does not. Has a
Yeah.
pretty nice move pool with, I think, Recover. Does it have Recover?
no,
Doesn't it
it
have
gets
like?
short. It gets Shore Up.
Oh, so basically the same thing.
Yeah, except it's weather dependent. So if you're playing against hail, you're like, nah, man.
Oh, so Alola Ninetales is the ultimate counter to Palossand.
Basically,
Alright, so this thing gets some pretty nice options. Destiny Bond can be cool with a Custap Berry, for example. Energy Ball, Giga Drain, I guess. It has Shadow Ball as nice stab. I think it has
I mean, it does.
Earth Power. Yeah, it does.
In case you want to stick your deck in it, it does get spit up and swallow. So.
this is true.
You are not wrong. It can pull off a Toxic stalling set pretty nicely with Toxic plus Shore Up. It's not
Yeah, I can imagine.
it's not the best Pokemon, but I think it does have merit. Its ability is kind of cool, kind of like not too useful.
Yeah.
It raises its defense 2 stages if it's hit by a water type move, but like you don't want to stay in on a water type regardless. I mean, it can be kind of cool if you're like switching in on an Alamola, which has Scalds that do about 10%, and you get the defense boost and you can wall other stuff when it switches out, but like I don't think it's very good. I think it's a tier 5, maybe tier 6 Pokemon.
Borderline
Yeah.
tier 6. Yeah.
I mean, its defense stat is pretty nice, to be honest. Its offense
Special
is...
attack is also usable.
Yeah, it's just... I don't think it's the best. Like, Golurk also has decent bulk and high attack.
Yeah, I would use Golurk way before I use this thing, so...
Yeah, definitely.
Plus, it gets Stealth Rock. So...
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, this thing doesn't have too much value. I think Bulky Ground, a lot of other things can do that better, and Ghost type...
Mudsdale can do it better.
Yeah, Ghost type is not game-breaking, to be honest. Like, it's a good offensive typing, but, like...
It doesn't have any
Yeah.
offensive stats, so...
Special attack is, like, decent, but... Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
moving
it's
on.
not- Never mind.
Moving on, we have the other monkey in Pessimian. This one, I believe, is going to be a little bit better in singles than Oranguru. I think its ability is kind of useless for receiver. Is Defiant released?
I
I'm
don't
not
think
sure.
so, no.
Well, if it does get Defiant, it'll be pretty nice. I think it would be better than Bisharp in that sense, because Bisharp sucks in League, especially now that Sucker Punch is nerfed. This thing gets an amazing move pool, though, like Close Combat, Earthquake, Brick Break, gets Iron Head for
Energy
them
Ball.
fairies, Rock Slide if you don't U-turn. It also gets Taunt, which means it can be a nice breaker. It can taunt like a... what's a Pokemon that it would taunt? Like one of those fat Pokemon like Toxapex. It can break Toxapex with the combination of Taunt plus Earthquake. Can sub up on it. It's just a
And
pretty
guys-
decent Pokemon.
It also gets Hyper Beam and Giga Impact, so we can't sleep on
Oh,
it.
wow.
Whoa.
Why does this get Hyper Beam and Oranguru doesn't? What? Why?
I think that's because Game Freak is a little bit racist,
Makes sense.
kind of favoring one monkey over the other. even though all monkeys are created equal, you know. Know what
Well,
I'm
this
saying?
one's an English monkey because it's playing rugby, so.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
true.
Australian, yeah.
And the other one's just a stupid hippie, so.
Well, there you go. This thing has a decent speed tier where it can be run as a pretty effective Choice Scarf user. A very nice base 120 attack, nice base 100 HP with 90 defense. It can take a physical hit very well. Special defense, not so much, and you're not going to be using this as a special attacker. But I think it's a decent tier 5 Pokemon. It has merit.
Yeah. I feel like tier 4 is also decent for it, just because of the HP and attack stat.
I think it's like borderline tier 4, tier 5.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Anyways, we can move on to one of my most anticipated Pokemon when I heard about it, and that is Pelipper. Now this thing gets the drizzle in Gen 7, and that makes it actually really viable. So, like, I know Leo of the Durham Dredagons, not the Leo that's in the JBA or SSL. Or
Not the bad Leo.
Not the
The
bad
good Leo.
Leo.
not the bad
Yeah.
Leo. Yeah.
He
Well, I
drafted.
wouldn't call that one the good one.
He drafted
Okay.
Pelipper plus Kingdra, and that's a nice little rain core that only takes up 2 slots, and both of those Pokemon are very good. Pelipper gets access to Defog, U-Turn, which is pretty big. It has the Rain Boosted Scald, and Hurricane has access to Roost. Its only bad thing is that it's 4 times weak to Electric, which can be mitigated by pairing it with a Volt Absorb Pokemon or something like that.
Yeah.
I believe Pelipper plus Magnezone actually has perfect synergy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yep.
Also, Mega Swampert, like in custom games / like week play, where like other megas are allowed, or if the other megas are released. But yeah, again, just sets up the rain very, very well.
I think this is better than Politoed, especially in League, because it can just do so many more things.
Oh yeah,
Right.
and Hurricane, like that boosts its, worth like times 10 because Hurricane's just such a good move.
Yeah, I've used Specs Pelipper before, and it's honestly
Yeah, that-
not bad at all. It can break a
That
lot of
blew me
things.
back.
But anyways, that's pretty much all.
Well-
It also got a special attack
actually,
boost of
It also
10, I
gets
believe.
Hyper Beam. Also
Does it
gets
get
Hyper
Giga
Beam.
Impact?
Yeah, it does.
Nice. So we got a
Does
good
it-
Pokemon here.
And it gets Hyper Beam. Don't forget Hyper Beam.
Yeah.
Can't forget Hyper Beam.
Yeah. So moving on to the next Pokemon, which is going to be Alolan Persian. Now this Pokemon, you see its stats and you think, oh, it's not that good. But then you look at its ability, Fur Coat, and then you realize, oh, it's still pretty bad, but it's not awful. It also gets access to Technician with lots of base 60 moves. Like Hidden Power, it can use that pretty effectively. Where's some other stuff? Aerial Ace, Assurance, Bite, Feint Attack, Giga Impact.
Yeah.
It gets Nasty Plot, which is pretty cool. So it is kind of decent, I guess. The physically defensive one can like grab momentum with a parting shot.
I wouldn't
Foul
call
play.
it decent. I wouldn't
It's
call it
fake,
decent at
actually.
all.
I say it's not bad as a tier 6.
As a
It can
tier
put it
6,
in work.
yes.
Yeah.
But this thing is going to be a tier 6.
It can run Taunt, U-Turn, Parting Shot. You'd probably run Parting Shot over U-Turn. Toxic, Switcheroo. It gets pretty nice coverage, to be honest.
And again, I have to give props though. It gets Hyper Beam and Giga Impact. So
Wow.
I used this on my VGC team, and I had lots of fun with it. So I'm kind of biased. But yeah, moving on to a Pokemon that I think we can all agree is completely broken and should be banned from all leagues, Pheromosa.
Absolutely not. This thing is pretty easily countered.
True. Moving on, we can go into the water starter, which is Primarina. This Pokemon is like one of the, well, it is the most promising starter out of the 3 in Gen 7. Has a pretty nice special attack set of 126, which means it can perform a Specs Breaker role pretty nicely. Water Fairy is an excellent typing, shared by Azumarill and Tapu Fini. Is there anything else that shares that typing? Probably, I'm just not remembering.
I want to say so. Probably not, though.
Azumarill.
I said
Yeah, I
that.
just said that.
Okay, never mind then.
But
I didn't
anyways,
hear you.
this thing also has a nice special defense stat, decent HP, decent defense, not going to be taking too many physical attacks, but the special defense and special attack is what makes it pretty decent. Speed, again, common theme of Gen 7, is pretty slow, but bulky and strong.
So it's like Cole's JV team.
Yeah, and one thing that I want to point out here, you can run Scald plus Sparkling Aria, whatever it is.
Area.
So you Scald them, get a burn, right? Then you're like, oh man, I feel bad. Let me go for Sparkling Area, cure the burn, and then you can toxic it.
Again. Okay, yeah. So when you actually type sorry in the chat, you can actually mean it.
Yeah. So overall, pretty decent Pokemon.
I mean, it does get Giga Drain, but not Hyper Beam, so you have to dock off some points for it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it could be a really good Tier 3 pick.
Yeah,
Tier
also
3.
avian specs, like you said, it hurts a lot.
Yeah, it's hard to take down with special attacks, and it's hard to switch into, which is pretty nice. And I think we can move on.
Yeah.
So the next Pokemon is the greatest Pokemon of Gen 7, Pyukumuku.
Ooh.
This thing got sort of like the Shuckle treatment, where it has super high defenses and low everything else. It does not get an attacking move at all, which is pretty funny. But it is kind of hard to kill because it does have Recover, Toxic, Soak, which means you can always Toxic anything.
Everything.
I
Yeah.
mean, I got one word. Taunt.
Yeah, taunt shuts it down, sadly.
It literally can't do
but
anything. But
It can struggle.
its ability has Innards Out and Unaware. I think Innards Out is the one that you're going to be using more often, because if something knocks out Pyukumuku, it takes damage, which
Yeah.
is pretty nice.
It's pretty much Aftermath.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's a little bit better than Aftermath, I think. Overall, I think you shouldn't draft this Pokemon. Just,
Unless you're running the max speed set. That's pretty powerful.
well, what does
Yes,
it hit at max speed?
119.
Oh man, so you can outspeed. I think that outspeeds min speed Rhyperior by
Pretty good.
I think 3. Is it 116? I think.
I mean, you could run Garth and outspeed a couple other mons.
With Scarf, it would hit like 160 something. No, 170, 178, something like that.
Yeah, around there.
So blistering fast speed.
Indeed.
Anyways, I think we can move on now to Alolan Raichu.
It's just Raichu, Psychic Stab, enough said.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
And a lesser move pool, so.
I mean, great Rocky Helmet user.
That's true.
Yeah, basically
And it
that's
does
it.
keep wet.
It does have Surge Surfer, which is a worse ability than Lightning Rod.
Yeah.
And that's pretty
So-
much it.
Just draft
Yeah.
regular Raichu.
The thing with this
Pretty
one, though,
much.
is you don't have to worry about illegal movesets as much. Because
yeah, that's
with
true.
regular Raichu, that's a huge issue. Like, oh man, Nasty Plot, Lightning Rod,
Insane.
Surf, destroys him, but you can't have that, for example.
I've had that issue.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not a good Pokemon. Nice Tier 5. In my
Yeah,
opinion.
their stats are pretty similar too. So
They're 5
pick up-
apart.
yeah, just pick up normal Raichu and
Yeah, definitely. Let's move on to another bad Pokemon. Alolan Raticate. I don't think we need to talk about this one, it's just bad.
Wait,
It
let me
gets
see if
hustle.
I think it gets Hyper Beam and Giga Impact again.
It gets
Was
Giga
someone-
Impact and Hyper Beam. Yeah,
So
Yeah.
so there is some use.
not very much though.
Not very much, but there is
Yeah,
some.
sadly.
But
Moving
hey,
on.
it does get Flamethrower, it does get Thunderbolt, and it does get, I think, Surf. No, it doesn't.
And it
That
also does
mighty
get a base
40
40 special attack.
Yeah.
So,
U-turn.
moving on, we can move on to Salazzle, which is actually a pretty interesting Pokemon with the Poison Fire stabs, plus the ability makes it able to Toxic Steel types and Poison types.
Nasty plot.
Not the best use of it though. If I were using this and someone's switching their Steel type, I would just Flamethrower it, to be honest.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, Corrosion, it's kind of a wasted ability on it, but Salazzle is an amazing mon. Just nasty plot with Focus Sash. It can sweep easily. They don't have priority.
Its stabs are pretty nice, and if you run it with like HP Ice, for example, it can hit a lot of Pokemon for super effective damage. I mean, Dragon Pulse is its best non-stab coverage, so mostly you're going to be using Hidden Power on this thing. But like, it's not awful. It's actually
It's not
pretty
awful
good.
at all.
Yeah, I like it a lot, yeah.
Good speed, good special attack. You know, can we run with Air Balloon?
I guess.
Yeah. I think this is like a solid tier 3 pick.
Tier 3, yeah.
So moving on, we can go to Alolan Sandslash. Now this is a Pokemon with a very, very good typing, I would say. It's only 4 times weak to like 3 things.
Fire, fighting,
Is that it?
doesn't resist ground. No, it's just, yeah, I think it's just fire. and
Only
fighting.
2
Yeah.
4 times weaknesses. Wow, that's pretty nice, to be honest.
Oh,
It's kind of like Ice and Rock, only slightly worse. Actually, no, slightly
Nice.
better because it does resist water.
I guess.
Yeah.
It doesn't resist water, but it's neutral.
What? Oh, wait, yeah. Never mind.
Its move pool isn't bad. Gets the Icicle Crash. It does have the Slush Rush ability, which means the speed is doubled with Hail, which
It's-
means
yes.
9 tails plus this is a very potent core.
Yes, because base 65 speed is going to do anything. Even when
Actually,
doubled.
it's okay for a sweet, or for like a doubling, whatever.
It's the same speed as Magearna, which means doubled it can outspeed whatever you need it to outspeed.
Yeah.
So,
Overall, very underwhelming Pokemon. I don't think
Yeah.
anyone's going to draft
too
it.
bad.
Literally
bad.
only good in the snow. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we can move on to basically Fairy type Amoonguss, Shiinotic. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Close enough.
I don't know.
It only has base 60 HP, 80 defense, 100 special defense, same speed as Amoonguss, but it is 4 times weak to the Sludge Bomb. It's kind of if Tapu Bulu and Amoonguss had a baby, this would be it.
More like a failed abortion, to be honest. Thing. this thing's awful.
It really is. Like, I saw this, and I saw, oh, it's Fairy type, it gets reliable recovery, it gets Spore. Can't be that bad, right? But it actually is that bad.
It really is, like...
Yeah, the only, like, I honestly think it should be a tier 5, but
Spore keeps it up as a tier.
I think it
That's-
should be a
that's
tier
about it.
5.
yeah, I don't know. That's
It'll
really
probably get
debatable.
moved down. It probably gets moved down. Like, people will realize how trash it is. Well,
That's what-
worries.
That's gonna happen with Savali. People are gonna be like, "Oh, it should be banned," and then people are gonna be like,
And then
"It's
they're
shit."
going to be like, it should be tier 3.
Yeah.
With all the types.
It really is okay in tier 3 of all types, to be honest.
Honestly, though. Well, that's a nice segue because our next Pokemon is actually Silvally.
I thought so. That's why I mentioned.
Wow. Amazing.
I
So
got
this
you.
thing has no recovery. Has a pretty wide move pool, but it can't really use any of its moves effectively.
Yeah.
What is it? Multi-attack? Is that what it's
Yeah.
called? It's a base 90 judgment, basically. So this
Yeah,
thing
it's
is
got a
basically
sure-
Arceus. I'll just
It's got a
throw that out
shared
there.
stab. But the thing is, it's not even a good Arceus like gimmick because it doesn't have like Will-O-Wisp and recovery and all that and defog. It's
Still
only got
has Arceus
U-turn,
stats.
multi-attack.
Anyways, I think this Pokemon is basically impossible to prep for, but it doesn't matter what set your opponent brings, it's just not going to do anything. It's going to take maybe 2 hits at most, and do about maybe 40% if it's a neutral hit offensive on your Pokemon. It's just not a good Pokemon in general, I think. 95 across the board seems alright, but the only good set is normal, because you can run an item.
Hey, and it does get Stab Hyper Beam and Stab Giga Impact.
Oh.
So, Choice Band.
So again, only good set is normal.
Yeah. So,
Exactly.
this mon is incredibly overrated right now. Give it like a month and people are going to be like, oh, it needs to be tier 7 for all types.
I mean, it does get Parting Shot, so...
Yeah.
So does Pangoro, and that's
Yeah.
not too good.
Yes, but it's faster than that. Like,
So is
one.
Alolan Persian.
that's a good point.
I mean,
But
this
it's both good and Alolan Persian.
this can set up a Swords Dance and do some work, but like it's not going to do too much work.
Yeah, I used Savali like the day Showdown like imported all the shit of Sword Stance Flame Charge. It's shit. There's no other thing. It's just shit.
It'll
Anyways.
start off at tier 1, drop to tier 2, drop to tier 3, and find the next home at tier 3.
Or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think that's all for Silvally, and we can move on to one of the nerfs in Gen 7, which is Talonflame. I'm kind of sad to see this thing nerfed because it was a pretty nice Pokemon, to be honest.
The gods have fallen.
Yeah,
Indeed.
if you don't know, Gale Wings, its only priority when it's at full health, which means the only real good sets for Talonflame nowadays are the offensive ones. The defensive set really relied on its priority roost to be able to wall things and like switch
it's
in.
gone.
Yeah, I think the offensive set still is decent because you can use a Z move on this and use Supersonic Sky Strike with your Brave Bird, get a really strong hit off, kill something, and then the next turn you still have Gale Wings because you didn't take recoil because it was a Z move. So you can get 2 hits off priority, plus it's still really fast, so it'll outspeed most things regardless.
Yeah, it has some very little value, I think, but it can just be like kind of fast annoyance, but it's not hitting too hard. So yeah.
It doesn't have a good attack stat. Well, 81 isn't that great compared to everything else.
Less
It has
than a
pretty good
Mungus.
speed. Yeah, it has decent speed, but that's all it has going for it now. It used to have, priority Gale Wings. Now it's just shit.
I can see like just Choice Band being good, to be honest.
I can see Choice Band, Sword Stance, Acrobatics, Bulk Up. Bulk Up probably not as much, but like, early XY Talonflames, those sets are going to be still decent.
Well, it has that 4 times weakness is Stealth Rock, so that was already a problem with the last gen. It made up with it for it with Priority Roost, and now it doesn't even have that, so it's going to be dropping.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd say probably RU.
It has more value than Savali still, so that's nice.
You're not wrong. I think we can move on to the next Pokemon, unless you have something you want to say.
It'll probably be a tier 5.
Yeah.
Talonflame is not going to be a tier 5, I'll tell you that much. But it's nowhere near the tier 1 that it used to be.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd say tier 4.
Yeah,
free.
probably 3 or 4, in my opinion. I think people are rating
That's
it a
it,
little bit
push.
too low because they're like, oh, Gale Wings, no. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's completely garbage, completely useless, nothing.
It really is, though.
It's still gonna do damage though. It's still gonna. It can still put in some work, but
It
I
still
think
hits
one
just as
turn.
hard.
so can other tier 5s though. To be fair, so or tier 4s. I mean.
Yeah. So I think we can move on to the Tapus. First one being Tapu Bulu. I think this is one of the best Pokemon in the format right now. Grass Fairy. It gives you the bulky fairy that you want on your draft. Grassy Surge ability can really help out fatter teams because you basically get free leftovers on any grounded Pokemon. And with other Pokemon that already have leftovers, that's basically toxic heal or poison heal damage,
Yeah.
which, as we know from Gliscor, is very, very good. So this Pokemon can help support your team. It's also ridiculously strong. Banded Woodhammer does, I think, 80% min to Mega Beedrill. That's a 4 times resist right there.
That's an odd just example, but yeah.
I know that
very
because I
powerful.
did that calc for my prep versus money in the
Not
DBDL.
bad.
We haven't played yet, but I did that calc. We
Cool.
did like a mock game. But this thing is incredibly versatile. You can go defensive with Leech Seed for the massive recovery. I think you can recover at least 25% per turn with leftovers, grassy terrain, and Leech Seed. Very good sub-seeder. It gets Horn Leech for more recovery, and it still hits really hard because of the grassy terrain.
Don't
It
forget
also-
its other ability, though, telepathy. I mean,
That isn't released
that's
yet.
a thing.
It's not a thing, actually.
Yeah.
Bulk Up Tapu Bulu is also a pretty nice set.
I heard that.
Yeah, the only thing that really holds this thing back is that it doesn't get play rough, just like all the other Tapus.
Right.
Its only good fairy move is Nature's Madness, which is basically Super Fang, and Dazzling Gleam, you're not going to use that ever.
I mean, if you're real, you run Calm Mind, Dazzling Gleam.
I mean, versus, like, say, a Hydreigon, maybe, you might run Dazzling Gleam just for fun. But, like, at that point, Superpower is probably better. You can run Swords
mean,
Dance.
Sure.
Again, it does get Hyper Beam and it does get Giga Impact, so
So it's basically the best Pokemon.
honestly, yeah.
Its coverage is
Mhm.
not super extensive, but it doesn't need to be, because all you really need is the Wood Hammer.
Yeah.
It's found a good niche.
niche, not niche.
No,
That really triggered.
I only survived a trigger.
Alright. So are we moving on?
Let's move
Moving
on to
on.
the next Tapu, which is Tapu Fini. This Pokemon, I believe, is kind of underrated right now.
Yeah, I'll admit, I thought it was kind of garbage at first.
Yeah, me too, definitely.
I started using it yesterday, actually. It's really good, actually. I like it a lot.
Yeah, this is one of the most reliable defoggers in the game. The only problem with this is that it doesn't get roost or anything like that, and if it did, it would be completely broken. Misty
Yeah.
Surge is a very nice status switch-in. It can't get toxic for 5 turns, can't get burned, and for that reason, it's not wise to run Scald on this thing. You have to run Surf. But
Which isn't bad, to be honest.
there is a lot of different sets that you can go for. You can go for the Stallbreaker set, which is Taunt Calm Mind, which completely
Yes.
destroys the fatter teams with Mega Sableye, for example.
Well,
You
no,
can
because
run-
taunt-
You can run Haze to get rid of boosts. You can run Moonblast as your Fairy Stab. And that's basically it. It doesn't have the biggest move pool, but it's like really, really good at what it does.
Again,
Yeah.
both Hyper Beam and Giga Impact.
Ooh.
Nice.
I've been running them max defense, max HP, defog, Moonblast, Surf, and Taunt. That's worked pretty well.
I ran a similar set. We did a mini league where I drafted this, and both games I brought max defense, defog, surf, moonblast, and I don't remember the last move. I think it was
Nature's Madness, maybe?
no. I don't even
Calm
remember what
Mind.
it was. Probably Calm Mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, very, very solid Pokemon, I think. Its stats are just
Definitely.
really, really nice. 95 special attack is nothing to laugh at for a defensive Pokemon. Very nice speed, which means it can outspeed a lot of wall breakers. And the 130 special defense, 115 defense, and 70 HP makes it very bulky and hard to take down. This is like the best Ash Greninja counter in the game by far.
Yeah, definitely.
So moving
Until
on.
Game Freak decides to give Ash Greninja a Flash Cannon.
And
it's
Gunk
pretty-
Shot and all that
Yeah.
stuff. No,
Yeah.
thank you. Next up,
No, in Game Freak, we have to make the most powerful Pokemon ever, the Greninja.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
so anyways, the next Pokemon we have is Tapu Koko, and quite opposite to Tapu Fini. I think this is an extremely overrated Pokemon right now.
Yeah, I don't like it that much.
really
it's
don't like it
cool,
either.
but yeah.
Like, I really like using this Pokemon, to be honest, but it's just kind of underwhelming in the damage output that it can do. It only
Yeah,
has
I thought-
base 95 special attack, which means it relies very heavily on the electric terrain to be able to do damage, which means
Yeah.
its other coverage is going to do literally zero.
Yep.
Yeah, Dazzling Gleam does nothing.
I think the best set for this thing is Calm Mind, Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Ice Roost, or
Yeah, I saw that.
or
It's cool.
Zap Plate, Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Hidden Power Ice, and U-Turn. So you can
And
U-turn
I've
out.
seen the Choice Specs set. That's pretty cool.
Specs also hits decently hard with electric moves, but like that's basically it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give Impact him Hyper Beam. That's you know
Standard
what you're
coverage.
saying. Yeah.
I rather draft Jolteon, to be honest.
I feel like this is going to be very overpriced for the first few weeks, months of draft. Then it's going to move down till it's eventually tier 2 or 3, I think.
Like I feel like if this thing gets play rough, like it could be a good banded set, but
Yeah, I got fucked earlier by a fully physical set. So
yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of versatile in that sense. It's also not too frail. It can take one hit most of the time.
And doesn't electric terrain give it like a defense boost or some shit?
It makes it so that you can't fall asleep. So it's
Oh,
immune
I
to
thought-
Spore.
That's very useful.
I thought I got a defense boost for some reason. Whatever.
You can use Electric Seed.
Oh yeah.
That gives it a defense boost in electric terrain. But like that's more of a gimmick.
I'm really mad that they put 115 in its attack. Like has no good physical attack, so
Yeah, it gets wild charge. That's not
Wild
bad.
Charge, U-turn, Brave Bird. It's
I
not
mean,
awful.
yeah. Like
It
I'm
gets-
just
It gets Quick Attack.
oh fuck, never mind. It's
Fine.
Giga Impact 2, jeez. I'm
I mean, like,
sorry
I
I
could
spoke
see-
some. I'm just mad it doesn't get play. Yes, like if
Yeah.
it gets play rough, I feel like its value would be like it'd be a tier 1, but like
Or Moonblast.
yeah,
Either
Moonblast
one of
too.
those would be good, to be honest. Or like an actual special attack stat.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Anyways.
I've seen or sorry, I was just going to add one more thing.
Sure.
If you get a switch in right on a Nature's Madness, and if you are having like max attack, Wild Charge and Brave Bird can usually kill. So that's pretty cool.
Alright. Well, let's move on.
Alright, the next Pokemon is the most broken Tapu by far, and should be banned. Tapu Lele.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This thing is a monster.
Should be banned.
It's pretty thick. Yeah.
So this thing, if it's allowed to use like a Z move, Z Psychic hits harder than Explosion.
I believe it.
Damn.
Yeah, that's all you really need to say. Base 130 special attack with the Psychic Surge. Psychic. The
Make it
spec set
pretty-
has
pretty
no
good coverage.
switch-ins. What was that?
Plus
Pretty good coverage.
yeah.
Yeah.
Plus again, Hyper Beam, Giga Impact.
Is this the only thing
This-
you're looking for in Pokemon?
Yeah. That's secretly math
It's-
drafts.
Yeah, so this Pokemon
Doesn't
gets
get-
coverage for any type, basically. The Spec set is almost impossible to switch into. The Scarf set is almost impossible to revenge. It's just incredibly broken.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
that's pretty much all.
Nothing else but to say. It's broken. Should be banned. Moving on.
So,
Also, no priority can hit it, so that's pretty gay.
yeah, moving on to another thing that's broken and should be banned, Togedemaru.
Ooh.
Basically Magnezone on steroids.
Yeah. Just look at this.
Oh man.
If Jade Hex were to become a Pokemon, I get the feeling he would get this.
You
Yeah.
are not wrong.
Because one, it makes that Tyrantrum cock all the much harder.
Alright, moving on to Torkoal. So Torkoal is a Pokemon that got a buff in the ability Drought, which makes it slightly more valuable. It does get Rapid Spin, as it used to as well. It's just the Drought makes its Fire-type moves hit harder, weakens the Water-type moves versus it. It's just a nice little buff, but it's still, I think, Tier 5 or Tier 6 material.
It may move up to Tier 4 just because of the drought, but
I
like
don't think
Torkoal.
so.
It has good stats, to be fair.
yeah, it has that really good base 1-4 in defense in here.
I think this is either exactly or almost exactly the same bulk as Skarmory. I think it has 70 HP, 140 defense. I'm not going to check
Yeah.
right now because I don't really care too much. But
Yeah,
this thing is
something like that.
bulky, but Mono Fire
it-
type is not the best defensive typing in the world.
Yeah, but it gets powerful, whatever's flamethrowers and fire blasts, so.
I mean, it is only 85 special attack, but with Drought, you can
Yeah.
even run choice specs if you are facing a mono
You're
fire
real.
weak team.
Exactly. You know, choice specs, Hyper Beam takes them all out.
Basically.
And this thing does have Shell Smash, so
Ooh.
Yeah.
you're gonna have to Shell Smash at least twice to outspeed anything over base 50 speed. But it is an option, I guess. You can go for White Herb and then like try to take 2 hits, or maybe
Yep.
take 1 hit plus a switch out, and then like you can try to sweep at plus 4, which is definitely a possibility. I've seen it happen. Not recently, it was a long time ago versus probably someone bad, but I have seen it.
Probably.
I think it's
Yeah.
one of the more solid tier 6 Pokemon.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I think it has some value at tier 4, but I could see it tier 5, 6.
Yeah. So Matt,
So-
the question is, does it get Hyper Beam and does it get Giga Impact?
It does get both of them indeed.
Alright,
Ooh.
glad I could count on you to research that for me.
Yeah.
Always up for the challenge, all 5.
Alright, we can move on to the next Pokemon, which is the bird of this generation, Toucanon. This Pokemon actually gets a really cool signature move in Beak Blast. I don't think it's very good, but it's definitely cool. You can burn your opponent if they make contact. I think that's a nice little tech.
Yeah.
Base 120 attack is like, I think that's the same as Staraptor, but its speed is like really holding
Not
it back.
Staraptor.
Not
Yeah.
Staraptor.
You know-
It does get Boom Burst, which
Ooh.
is a strong move, definitely, but I don't think it's going to be using Boom Burst. It's
No,
a
I did
physical
use-
attacker.
I did use it, Choice Scarf with Skill Linked. It had Bullet Seed, Rock Blast, all those moves. And it actually does put in a little bit of work. But other than that,
It can also Flame Charge.
yeah.
Yeah.
You
Still
turn-
not very good.
It just has. I feel like this is just really gimmicky, but it has some interesting things.
Yeah,
I mean, I
think-
like Skill Link is definitely a good ability. So, no.
I think this
It's
Pokemon,
useful.
this Pokemon's gonna be like a hit and miss and miss and miss and miss and miss and miss and hit and miss and miss and miss type of Pokemon.
Yeah.
Oh, it will have like a 2 out of 10 batting average, but those 2 times will be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, it doesn't get Hyper Beam or Giga Impact, so it's kind of bad.
Oh, true.
That's me, Polish. You're infringing on my territory.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, he's getting triggered. Better run. Alright, let's move on to the next
Awesome.
Pokemon, which is actually Toxapex. One of the best additions to a stall team this generation.
Yeah.
Poison Water is a pretty nice defensive typing, same as Tentacruel, but this thing gets Recover, it's way bulkier, and it can also set up the Toxic Spikes. This thing doesn't really have too many good moves. Scald, Recover, Haze, Toxic Spikes, and that's about it. It doesn't really get anything else. Well, Scald is your better choice.
Yeah, I don't think it's using offensive moves that well unless you like the weird Toxic Spikes Merciless set, which is pretty shitty to be fair.
Yeah.
It gets Peck.
I think this thing is sort of like a better Alamomola in that it takes almost any hit and doesn't do any damage back, but it can take the hits.
Plus,
Yeah.
Baneful Bunker is pretty good as, Protect variant.
Yep.
I don't think it's that good, to be honest.
It's just a cool thing that it's helpful.
If you have an extra
Yeah.
move slot and nothing else would be
Yeah.
useful, you can just throw it on there and maybe it'll work, maybe it won't.
I mean, if it's a stall set, you want it because it's better than Protect. It also has a
Wanna
chance to
be-
Toxic.
yeah.
And also synergizes with Toxic Spikes as well. You can stall out a turn, make them
Yeah.
take damage. Anyways, very fat, annoying Pokemon with no offensive presence.
Yeah, and you can tell that because it does not get Hyper Beam, it does not get Giga Impact, so
Woo. It's just a big fat cunt, to be honest.
You're not
it
wrong.
gets Infestation if you want to be a dick about it.
A cunt. Alright.
So moving on, we have Tisserina. No idea if the T is silent or not.
No, it is Zarina.
Sarina?
Zar. Like the
Zarina?
Russian Zar.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So this is a Russian grass type.
Basically.
That's pretty nice, to be honest. It
Yeah,
does get
pretty
an ability called Queenly Majesty. Kind of weird name, but it does protect it from all priority, which is
That's
kind
why
of
it's
cool.
called- That's why it's called Zarina, because Zarinas were
It's also
Russian
thick.
queens. It's true.
It's very thick. I would actually bend this. Go to town on it.
Okay.
So it gets access to Rapid Spin. It can be a cleric with aromatherapy. It gets Leaf Storm, which it doesn't have a special attack stat, so it's not going to be too good. But it also gets a signature move in Trop Kick, which is like all the way at the bottom here. But it has a 100% chance to lower the target's attack, which means you're just sitting there and taking hits better and better with its mediocre bulk. It's not bad at all. It can definitely be a value pick for a rapid spinner. Nice tier 4, I think.
Yeah, I'd say so.
It does get Giga Impact, doesn't get Hyper Beam, so
So it's like half good.
half
That's
good, yeah.
Okay.
It gets 1.5 point.
Its shiny is pretty good though.
Let's check it out.
Again,
that's not
thick
bad.
again.
Anyways, let's move on to the next Pokemon, which is going to be the God Turtonator.
Ooh!
I had so much hopes for this. I'll
This was my most anticipated moth.
I mean, it's basically Megazord X, but it can hold an item.
Yeah, that's true.
I love turtles. My former username was Turtle Apocalypse. I like my spirit animal. I was so excited for this, and it's trash, and I hate it. And
But
I wanted to
yeah,
use a mono turtle team with it, and I realized you can't because it's complete trash.
I mean,
So
you
Its
see,
typing
this
is pretty
basically-
decent defensively.
its typing is decent defensively, and that's all it's got, pretty much.
But it's basically Kyurem Black and Heatran combined with Zardex capabilities of offense. You don't understand the power.
Shell Trap is a nice gimmick move.
Yeah, I can do shit.
What even is that?
It's like a move.
It's a move.
User
Yeah.
must take physical damage before moving.
And then it explodes on you.
Yeah, it explodes.
I mean, not actually explodes.
It's like counter, but
Yeah, it's like counter except worse. I mean, it's kind of it's more or less.
Nice gimmick.
Yeah,
I think
cool though.
Assault Vest is going to be the only set for this thing.
That's the only.
I really
So
wish
even
this thing got Rapid
even
Spin.
then, yeah, if it gets rapid spin, it'd be less trash. It's still trash.
Or if
but
it got
it's-
like base 105 special attack.
105 special attack plus like 50 speed could make it a decent shell smasher.
Yeah.
Anyways, it gets hyper beam. It gets Giga Impact. So it has points for that.
Pretty
that-
damn good.
Other than that, it's trash. Moving on.
Yeah.
Alright, let me just check the time on the video right now. So we are kind of over an hour at this point, but there's only a little bit more Pokemon, so I think we can make this episode longer and only have it 2 episodes.
Nice.
All right, that's fine.
Next Pokemon is going to be Vanillix. This Pokemon got a buff. It now has the Snow Warning ability. Basically, it's a better Ninetales, while also simultaneously being worse.
Nice.
Not really much else to say about it. It does get
gets Ice
Taunt,
Shard.
it gets
So
Blizzard,
that's-
it gets Autonomize, Freeze Dry for the tech. Magic
it's pretty
Coat
delicious.
can be pretty cool. Yeah, I wouldn't draft it, to be honest.
Yeah, unless you're really good.
Hyper beam and Giga Impact. So still not good.
Alright,
Do not draft this mon.
so next up we have a pretty cool bug type, Vikavolt.
Yeah.
I really thought this Pokemon was going to be pretty nice, but then they gave it base 43 speed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Probably the most
It was
disappointing.
based on a
one.
rail. It was based on a railgun. Those things are big and heavy.
I don't know what you're saying, Matt, but okay.
It was based on Railgun. I'm quoting.
Oh,
the
a
content.
railgun. Okay.
Yes.
They said a Relicamp.
No, it was not.
No.
So
I'm
this
pissed
thing,
off because it's not fast. If it
yeah,
was fast, it'd be good. But since it's not
this
fast,
looks like it would be like base 105 speed, base 110, something like
exactly.
that, and then it's 43. Like,
Yeah.
Game Freak, what you doing?
Again, it's honestly the most disappointing mon of this gen, to be honest.
Great shiny.
Even worse than Turtonator?
Yeah, I'd say so, because I like Turtonator.
For me, yeah.
Ooh, that
it's
shiny
worse.
though. Oh man,
That shiny is amazing.
I don't even like it shiny, though.
I like
It's
it
nice.
regular better, but the shiny is just
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Whoa!
It's
Yeah.
green.
Yeah,
I
I think
ran agility. It's okay.
Yeah, it can also run the Life Orb or Choice Spec set pretty effectively. It's bulky enough where it can take like one hit, but it's not going to be walling anything per se.
Yeah.
It does have Roost, which is kind of nice. Like,
I didn't know that.
I think it's just not the best Pokemon. It's like one of those strong, slow Pokemon. It's like characteristic of Gen 7.
Except it's not even that amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I tried to run a choice scarf variant, and it was just trash. Don't
Yeah, that
use
sounds bad.
it. Yeah.
That sounds
I mean,
very
I guess you could use agility, try to make it what it's supposed to be.
That's
Make
what I
Vikavolt
tried.
great again. Let's see, what
Still
would
bad.
it hit at max speed? It hits 406 at +2.
Yeah. So that speeds make a lot and all that. So 135s, I think.
So that's not awful. It's an option.
Yeah, that's. I've used it, and I think it only actually swept once, but even that was pretty bullshit. So.
Yep, but it does get Hyper Beam, it does get Giga Impact, so
GG.
you take some, you give some.
Yeah. So let's move on to simultaneously one of the best and the worst Pokemon of all time, Wishiwashi.
Mm.
This thing, when it's in its school form, is very strong and slow, very bulky as well. Its stats, you just see 140 attack, 130 defense, 140 special attack, 135 special defense. It's pretty nice, to be honest. I personally
Honestly, I
would
think-
not draft it though.
Yeah.
I think its solo form is actually better. 45 HP. 20 attack, 20 defense, 25 special attacks, 25 special defense, and 40 speed. It's actually
Yeah.
faster.
This thing is officially worse than Sunkern.
Nice.
This thing is a god. This just in, the Washington Wishcast is officially renaming their franchise to the Washington Wishy-Washies, so...
Makes sense.
Yep.
Anyways, this Pokemon doesn't have the greatest move pool. It does have decent physical and special options, but like nothing too outrageous. And yeah, it's just kind of, you see its stats and you're like, whoa, or like, ew. And then you see its move pool and it's like, eh. I think it'll be a
Honestly,
nice
I don't like it.
tier 3,
I don't
tier
like
4.
it at all. Like, at all. It's just like, eh. Yeah.
And does not get Hyper Beam, does not get Impact, so it's trash.
Yeah. So let's move on to our second to last Pokemon in this set here. Not second to last Pokemon overall, because there's a few things I want to talk about right after. But Xurkitree. This Pokemon has a really high special attack stat and nothing else.
It has okay speed though, which I'm like...
83 isn't bad, but it's also not good. You can use Z Hypnosis, if that's allowed in your league, to get +1 speed while hopefully hitting a Hypnosis. I wouldn't recommend it though. If your opponent's team is very fat, Tail Glow set completely destroys. Although I don't think it's that good because it can easily be revenged by any ground type that's faster than it. Or takes a hit, like Stunfisk.
Yeah, the only thing is, I feel like it is slightly broken just because it has good coverage in the form of hidden powers. Because honestly, when you have that high of special attack, it doesn't matter that they're low base power moves.
Still, it gets Energy Ball, it gets
Signal
Energy Ball.
Beam,
Energy Ball.
Dazzling
Dazzling
Gleam.
Gleam. It doesn't
Energy
have the
Ball.
best of coverage, but at the same time, it's just like special attack is just too good in my opinion. I feel like it is broken.
I don't think it's broken because there's lots of things that can revenge it. But I also think it's definitely going to be tier 1.
Yeah, I feel like
Just because of that special attack stat.
yeah, I don't know, it just seems a little too scary. Just like Choice Scarf as well. That set is very scary.
Yeah, with Volt Switch and Energy Ball.
And the
And
Beast Boost
Balls.
for late game sweeping. But like
Yeah.
you can do that with a lot of the Ultra Beasts.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm a fan.
It's not the most broken mon, definitely. Like Tapu Lele and Pheromos are just fuck ton more.
Ash
But-
Greninja as well.
Oh, and Turtonator, yeah. But yeah,
I think it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the last Pokemon that I'm going to talk about in this set is Zygarde 10% form.
That-
This Pokemon is actually pretty interesting. Even though it only has base 100 attack, it does have access to a new move called 1000 Arrows, which means there are no ground immunities.
What are we on?
Zygarde 10%.
Oh, okay.
There are no
Good
ground
dog.
immunities anymore. 1000 Arrows hits everything, basically. I don't think it hits Levitators, or does it? I think it does.
yeah, I think it
actually.
does.
Yeah, it's basically Smackdown plus Earthquake all in one, which means it's
Yeah.
incredibly free to spam. So Choice Banded set
Dang.
is very, very good and hard to switch into.
And its speed is very nice.
Yeah, 115 can outspeed most Pokemon. The only things that can really switch into this are bulky grass types,
Yeah.
and that's about it.
And Tapu Fini can pretty well.
Tapu Fini can get chipped down by 1000 Arrows plus Rocks, for example, and probably gets 3-hit KO'd, so you just switch out and come back in later and 2-hit KO it on the switch.
I want to say it was actually a 4 KO because I think I had this before.
Versus Choice Banded Zygarde, I don't think so. But like
Wait.
maybe Scarf Zygarde. It'd be a
That
4-hit
might have been
KO.
it, actually.
Alright. Well, it does get Impact, it does get a Hyper Beam, so I did my
Okay,
job.
Yeah, so
Never mind, that's a 1 KO.
I think that's all for those Pokemon. We have a few more buffs that aren't actually in the Alolan Dex, but I wanted to talk about them briefly anyways. Dodrio got a buff to
Oh
its
my.
speed and got Jump Kick. and that just makes it an incredible Pokemon, actually, in my opinion, at least. It's actually
Not
one
incredible.
Yeah.
for a low tier price. For a low tier
Oh, yeah,
price,
right.
it is incredible. You
Yeah,
got the
just
very
like
nice
a-
speed tier.
Until he gets moved up to tier 3, then
I don't think it'll ever be tier 3, but I think tier 4 is appropriate.
Yeah, like it reminds me of Staraptor, just like a little, like
Cheaper.
not a little. Yeah, really a cheap Staraptor. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Staraptor, it gets the normal flying stab with the fighting coverage. It doesn't get U-turn, which is unfortunate, but this Pokemon can run a Swords Dance set quite effectively, because it does 4 switches, and it gets a really good coverage that you can customize to your opponent's team. Brave Bird, Knockoff, Jump Kick, and Return can hit almost anything for neutral or super effective damage. And yeah. You can also Swords Dance and Baton Pass if that's what you want to do. It gets Pursuit.
switch initiative. Yeah.
Yeah, not really much else that this thing can do. It gets Taunt, but you're not going to be using that ever. I think it's just a nice Pokemon in general.
Good
I-
Brave Bird.
I drafted
spam,
it in
you
the
know.
DBDL. Very nice. I
Pretty
brought it to
solid.
both games so far, and it's done work.
Okay.
Moving on to Doug Trio, which got a 20 base attack increase, which Doug
Yeah.
Trio was also pretty nice before, but now it's pretty good in general. Earthquake actually hits hard, and yeah, it just makes it so much better, in my opinion. You have anything you want to say?
Nope. No.
Yeah, honestly, Doug Trio, it's good. What
Yeah.
else do you want?
I think this can move up to like even a tier 2 with the attack buff.
I could see it. I think tier 3 is
mean,
more
At
appropriate.
least
Alolan-
tier 3.
Alolan Doug Trio is better anyway.
That's true.
You're not wrong. So the last buff that I'm going to talk about is Mantine. This thing got
Oh.
20 HP and access to Roost, and that is huge.
Yeah.
This thing went from a solid tier 9 Pokemon to now a very, very solid tier 2. This thing, same typing as Pelipper, so both water flying's getting the nice treatment in Gen 7. This Pokemon gets access to Defog, very reliable Defogger. Not so much in League, I guess, because the 4x electric weakness is kind of annoying. But it does also get Haze for setup sweepers. Water Absorb can make it an excellent Scald switch-in. It's just a really nice Pokemon in general. And yeah. You have anything you want to say about
Yep.
Mantine?
Mantine, good.
Yeah, with special investment, it takes him on like Thunderous Oko of an electric move, which is pretty cool. At least special electric move.
Yeah, definitely a very solid Pokemon.
Like,
And
I
now-
wouldn't draft it in League just because that 4x weak 2 electric is just so big. But,
To
like,
be honest, I would, like, because it really doesn't take much damage from him, whatever, 10 power.
Yeah. Its special bulk
Yeah.
is like even better than Skarmory's physical bulk.
Yeah.
And
is
so
that it?
that's all the new Pokemon. I just wanted to do a brief overview on, like, in my opinion, the top 3 Pokemon that can use Z moves. And I think Salamence is definitely up there with a Flyinium Z, giving it access to a really strong flying type move that is Stab, which it didn't have before. That can make its sweeping potential just huge, in my opinion. It's very, very solid on the Pokemon. And
I would
another
say, yeah.
Pokemon that can use Z moves very well is Kyurem Black. Because if you're thinking Kyurem Black, what's its biggest weakness? It doesn't have a physical Ice Stab, right? But Icium Z Freeze Shock is like a base 190 stab physical ice move.
I hate
Yeah,
Kieran
sounds
Black.
scary.
Kieran Black can just die.
Matt having a little
For
bit
Mar-
of PTSD here.
Twice it happened to me.
Yeah. And the third
Kyurem-
Pokemon that I selected that
Okay, can I just make a public service announcement?
Go
Whoever
ahead.
picked Kieran Black in a fucking league, you should die. There's no question about it. You can go fuck yourself.
Moving on, the third Pokemon that I chose, this is probably the more broken Z-move user, is Manaphy. With Waterium Z, you can use that to get a little bit more power on your Scald, or you can go for a Z Rain Dance and get the speed boost. And Manaphy with a speed boost, with the investment that I have on screen, which is 112 in speed, at +1, it can outspeed the base 130s, and at neutral, it can outspeed the base 70 Jollies.
Here, I'm sending a set. It's honestly the best Z-move user in the game.
So Polish has informed me that Turtonator is the best Z user. I believe that is wrong. But Manaphy, just in general, is amazing. And for this reason, Manaphy with Z moves is actually banned from the JBA. You cannot have Manaphy be your Z Pokemon.
Wow.
And yeah, that's pretty much going to be
an
it.
Inspirational story.
That's basically it for the video. Anything you want to say to end it off?
Check out the next video I'm doing. Jade Hex. That's going to come out in like a week. I'm going to be commentating my battle with money. Should be fun.
And Turtonator is pretty good. It's not, but it's pretty good.
Alright, on that message, I'm going to end off the video, and I'll see you guys next time.